Alright, friends of Votann, I'm here to take a look. I know I haven't actually posted any videos yet, but now seems a great time considering there is literally a whole new book coming out for our Votann. So, new rule released today. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm sure you've already looked at some other people who have done this. I'm a little late to the game, but I would like to point out the prioritized. Obviously, Grudge is gone. So, no more grudging, which I predict will make this, vehicle heavy meta of 40k right now difficult. I mean, I just got done playing at ATC a few weeks back, and I did an RTT the other weekend, last weekend. So, obviously, there's so many knights and so many, hammers of Mortarion and all this stuff out there. So many vehicles. So having a +1 to hit, +1 to wound right off the bat, smashing things down, it made Purge the Foe really fun, very doable for Votann. And that's one thing I always liked about my Votann is, yeah, there might be some issues, but man, you got double grudge, and we're gonna take you down. We get a hold of you, we're gonna choke you out. Now that's gonna be gone. So, all right. Personally, I like the idea of slayers with grudges running out there to, take things down. Maybe I'm a little less excited for the idea, just the concept of being an accountant, who's like, well, there's a gemstone mine vein here. If you were to take it and go, hey, what do you like about Gimli and Lord of the Rings? And it's like, I love how much he forged his helmet and axe. No, we like that Gimli is a dwarf, and he brings his axe to the battle and chops things, right? And I think that's generally, if you're playing a tabletop game where things explode, you're probably more interested in the dwarves' ability to make things explode, more so than their ability to catalog and tally and, what their yield for the mining action will be. But, on the other hand, right, we're dealing with 40,000. We're dealing with 40k, and it's very much a falls in line with the sci-fi vibe of them traveling through space and mining asteroids and harvesting suns and everything that they do, right? And it does open up more potential, obviously, for rule sets and different detachments than just this general blob rule that's like +1 to hit, +1 to wound, boom, right? Plus, if you look at the Grotmus list and you take away the grudges, it still functions, right? Reroll ones, but now you got a +1 to hit, and you're rerolling ones. It's just, that's going to be tough. They're really going to have to make some cool things happen, I think, to make it so that +1 to wound can be, we'll see, right? It really is going to come down to points, what the data sheets say, right? So very unknown. But let's take a look. The new rule itself, however, Leagues of Votann, you are going to get acquisition points, yield points, and then you're going to you start in hostile acquisition, and then you get, if you have at the beginning of your command phase, if you have less than 7 yield points, you're still hostile, and if at the end of your command phase you have 7 or more, you become fortified. And there's obviously lots of ways to adjust this. There's so many ways to gain it. You gain it by controlling your deployment zone for 1 point, and then from turn 2 on, it's basically kind of like it's a primary objective. You get the primary objectives if you have 2 or more, 1 or more, not your deployment zone, 2 or more, and then more than your opponent, which is very familiar, right? So you're basically playing, like take and hold, essentially, or whatever, right? Or any of the primary objective. Grab the primary objectives and have 1 or 2 or more than. And then you're going to power up. I imagine that some of the characters will adjust things, including the little cogitator fellow that's coming out. So that'll be cool to see. And with your strats, you can spend the strats and spend extra yield points to bring it back down. So you could always push yourself back down into sort of this hostile acquisition. Now, me and my brother were talking about this, and hostile acquisition is whatever. It's 1+1 to hit roll. That's fine. Reroll advance and charge rolls. Okay, you're moving off the board. Then fortify takeover. Add 1 to hit roll again, but you are on the objective, which is cool. And then -1 to wound for everything that's not a vehicle, which is also very cool. So, here's how this flows, right? You turn 1, you're moving up, you're staging, you're taking objectives, right? Whatever go turn is for you, 2, 3, whatever, you have 7 or more. Basically, your go turn has to be 7 or more, right? Just imagine this. So now it's your go turn, and you have 7+ yield points, and you rush up. Now keep in mind that you get these yield points every player turn in the command phase. Every player turn. At the end of each player's command phase, you get yield points, right? But you don't switch each time. This is, where does it say it? During the battle, each time a model makes an attack, yield points in your turn. In your turn, yield points are this way are gained before checking the ability. So you, in your turn, yield points gained this way are always gained before checking which ability you have. And whenever a rule allows you to spend yield points, reduce the number of yield points you have, right? Can't go below 0, duh, obviously. Each time a target, where is it? At the end of your command phase, okay? So, here's the deal. Turn 1, you're obviously in hostile acquisition. But let's say you get 7, and battle round 2, your turn, you switch over to fortify because you have 7. Maybe you've gained 7 by turn 2, and it's your go turn. So you rush out, you dump out your units, you take objectives as much as possible, hammer into everything, you know, pop, 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 take your, whatever, your 2 objectives that you really want to conquer, and push on them. Get the opponents off there, have your battle lines, OC control them. Now, just because you are spending your yield points does not take you out of that the fortify zone, right? Because this isn't until the end of your next command phase. So you will have fortify takeover until the end of your next command phase, which means you blow all of your yield points, right, on all of the strats that will help you out to get your extra, whatever it is. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of these spend yield points. So you're going to be like sustain 2, you're going to be AP 2, you're going to be hammering the units, you pop your stratagems and you pop your yield points to just overcharge your strats and wipe your opponents off the objectives, take those objectives. Fortify takeover is still effective in their turn because, again, it doesn't change until your command phase. Fortify takeover is in effect. Now you are sitting on objectives and you're, generally more vulnerable when you're sitting on those objectives, right? But now you're at a -1 to wound. You've dumped out everyone. They've hammered into things. Now you're still getting a +1 to hit roll for fighting on that objective, for shooting off of that objective, but also you're at a -1 to wound. Everything that tries to hit clapback on you, -1 to wound on your guys, right? And then finally your turn rolls back around, and whatever the case may be, maybe you've been pushed back off of that objective, or maybe it's yours still, but you're going to be switching back to hostile acquisition because you've spent your yield points to a certain degree. Or you've manipulated them and maybe you stay in fortify, or maybe you purposely go down to hostile acquisition. But now you're ready to advance, reroll charge rolls, and hit opponents on the next objective over that you want to take. So you're objective hopping, right? And when you finally take an objective on your go turn, your fortify lasts until you want it to stop, essentially, right? So that's just what it looks like to me is that you build up your yield points and then you just unload and you dump all those yield points into your stratagems, and then you're set for fortify, for clapback, and then when it comes back around to your turn, you're probably, if you spend all your stuff, you're still in hostile, but you're ready to go aggressive again, and move up and reroll charges and get into it. Now, how many of your units are going to be aggressive? How many are close combat anymore? So far, right now, we really just have berserkers. those robots might be good. I don't know. You know, they might. We're going to see some of those tomorrow, and I guess I'll talk about it more tomorrow. But we'll see if this plays out well with my what I think will happen, right? With these sort of like a basically every time you're ready, hopefully if you get the rhythm down, you can like hold, be defensive, push, punch. Hold, be defensive, push, punch, right?
Oop. Look, I made an apron for Totodile.
Nice work, son. He's got Totodile's got a new apron. All right. So anyway, sorry, my son popped in. My kids are gonna pop in and out of my chats here from time to time. I can't help that. I don't have anywhere to record. But anyway, so there you go. That's my thoughts on what's going to happen with the Votann, and once we start seeing the data sheets and more details with the detachments, we'll know more. And just start thinking about that. Maybe it'll help once we see some things.